All right, well, mental health is increasingly becoming a problem for Americans. According to a recent study from the American Psychological Association, the number of people reporting symptoms of major depression rose more than 50% over the last decade, with others also suffering from anxiety and stress. Our next guest is helping the afflicted manage some of those issues through a new voice-enabled partnership with Amazon's Alexa, a short-form meditation podcast, Daily Breath, launching April 22nd, as well as his recent New York Times bestseller, You Are the Universe. I'm, of course, talking about world-renowned well-being expert, Dr. Deepak Chopra, and he joins us live on set. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Zach.
Aside from that list that I just kind of rattled off there, which I think sent a lot of our viewers into a panic attack just trying to think of how you spend all your time doing this, what do you think is pushing so many Americans into this stressed-out space, and why is there such a large need in terms of using these apps and these podcasts that you lead to help get us out of that?
Well, actually, that was a very interesting statistic that you pointed out. I recently did a meta-analysis of chronic illness across the world, and invariably, low-grade depression and anxiety precede things like Alzheimer's and chronic disease by decades. And it's associated with low-grade inflammation in the body as well, which is now measurable. So why is it happening? Well, because everybody's concerned about their self-image and they're not concerned about who they are. They're not getting in touch with their innate joy or their capacity to love and have compassion or unleashing their potential for creativity or even enjoying good health.
I want to ask you about that because we talk about devices being such a big problem. You mentioned people caring about their self-image, social media as well, but we're also seeing apps like yours, Jayo, meditation app, Calm, I think reached $1 billion valuation, and some of these other ones, Headspace. I mean, is there a certain irony in terms of turning to your device to kind of help you address the issues that are also caused by a device?
Well, technology right now is unstoppable. Try and stop it. You can't, right? So it's part of our human evolution. What we do with it is up to us. So you can use technology to create more stress and even use it for mechanized death with drones, but you can also use it to improve your well-being. It's up to you.
All right, well, talk to me about what those tips are when we're talking about the Daily Breath. That, of course, comes out later in April, but you also have other podcasts where you walk people through what they can do. What are some of those top tips you're giving people to kind of unwind?
Well, it depends on the level of development, emotional and psychological and spiritual of the user. So anything from simple breathing techniques to meditation techniques, but going into the deeper nature of what we call reality. Right now, the biggest question in science is what's the universe made of, number one. Number two, what's the biological basis of consciousness? And there's a lot of conversation around the fact that the physical universe that we experience is actually a hallucination. It's a virtual reality produced in consciousness, made out of consciousness. So I'm kind of across the spectrum from kindergarten to PhD.
But I mean, is this kind of, the apps are meant to be targeted towards people who might not know anything about meditation? I mean, I would kind of fall into that bucket. I mean, is that kind of who you're trying to help here, or people who might be further along the way?
I meditate every morning for 10 minutes with an app.
You do? With the app.
And I'm trying yours now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm going to try yours. It's so
Both just
helpful.
got into it.
Try Jayo, Jiyo.com.
I'm doing it. I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Did it work for you right away? Because
Yes, it works really well.
On our show, we had so many high performers that would come on and talk about meditation, and at first I was very skeptical because I myself had a difficult time getting into it. Went back to the board and said, okay, maybe I need to give this a little bit more practice, a little bit more try. And I have seen a ton of benefit from doing it.
That's what the Daily Breath is going to be about. It starts in a week, the podcast. But here's the thing to remember. Even a few minutes every day changes the neural networks of your brain. It also changes your gene activity through epigenetic modification. We recently published a paper in a peer-reviewed journal that showed that within 1 week, people who are practicing regular meditation, their genes, which cause self-regulation, went up 17-fold, some of them. and some genes that cause inflammation went down very drastically.
You guys have it easy though, because you can do this in California. You can do it by the beach and listen to the waves crashing. I'm in New York. I hear garbage trucks.
But I did it this morning.
You can create that environment through VR these days.
Yeah, I could try that for sure.
Put the noise canceling headphones on if you need to.
There's so many things I could be doing. I just can't do it, but I will try. I'll give it a go. In terms of though, I guess the flip side of me, right? If I'm at the far end of meditation noob, you're on the other side, but you also met with...
all across the board. Just try simple breathing or feeling the sensations in your body or reflecting on what you want in your life. Most people are running around like biological robots, and they don't even have any idea why they're doing it.
I know.
But we just had a conversation on our show about basically disconnecting for a little while and getting right with your own thoughts, being okay to sit with your own thoughts.
That's why I feel like it's so strange to do it with the phone, but I guess I'm going to give it a go. But in terms of the other side, you've also worked closely with the Dalai Lama. You've met him multiple times. I don't want to put you, up against him, but who's more Zen?
He is.
You?
He is.
What did you learn from him?
He's a very authentic, happy person. He's not interested in philosophy like I am, or even in the basics of the science of meditation, although he supported it. I think he's one of the greatest human beings on our planet, and his whole emphasis on compassion as the way to be happy is right on target.
He'll probably use your app.
Yes.
No, I don't.
If he uses your app, then that's a huge that's an endorsement and a half right there.
We were with him about 3 weeks ago, and it's just great to be in his presence.
I just want to ask you one last question before we let you go. I mean, on the flip side of meditation, there's also prescriptions, and that tends to be something that we're seeing right now, especially with the opioid crisis when we talk about Purdue in terms of the opioid crisis and the cases, the charges against them in terms of getting doctors to prescribe their meds. Is that something that you're worried about when we talk about anxiety and other things?
I am.
Issues?
90% of all prescriptions are for 5 things: pain, anxiety, nausea, insomnia, and constipation. If you want to remember the acronym, it's PANIC, P-A-N-I-C. That's 95%. All of these conditions are related to stress. So 2 minutes on the app would be better than all these prescriptions.
All right.
Now, having said that, pharmaceuticals are very useful for acute illness. If you have pneumonia, you better get an antibiotic.
Sure, so a case-by-case basis. I will say this, though, I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, will you come back on the show and help me in person?
Yes.
All right, Dr. Deepak Chopra, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.